Well, a potential existential wipeout for the Liberals, that's a huge story. But the same polling that predicts the Labor Party's major political rival of the past 70 years will be decimated also has the government losing 18 seats, which raises the question, how does Anthony Albanese manage to look this unpopular even as his main political opponent is busy reenacting the extinction of the dinosaurs? Now, I could try and explain it to you, but honestly, Labor Senator Ellie Whittaker will do a much better job, so over to her. Okay, so we've got a giraffe, we've got a zebra, and if you're wondering where the goose is, well, she, of course, is the narrator. Well, there you go. Now you know what Labor caucus meetings are like. As for the magical process by which giraffe paying more tax helps zebra buy his own home, that part remains mysterious. Maybe it's explained in a later episode, right after Big Ted solves inflation and Jemima fixes productivity growth. While his West Australian senator was conducting economic policy with soft toys, the Prime Minister, well, he was addressing the Victorian Labor conference.
Labor is the party of aspiration, and we will not allow Australia to become a country where aspiration is only for some.
Someone please tell Albanese the Melbourne Comedy Festival ended 4 weeks ago, because taxing away the returns on everything my kids might invest in doesn't exactly scream reach for the stars. I'm not even sure the PM knows what aspirational means. Now, I'd ask Giraffe to explain it, but since we've already wandered into comedy territory, let's hand the microphone to Dave Hughes. When the country's artists are going public with their buyer's remorse, you know Albanese is in trouble. Politics is often described as show business for ugly people. The danger for Labor is that even the actual show business people have stopped applauding.
Australia turns on Labor over taxing kids' investments as explosive backlash erupts inside Parliament debate. Now, what you're seeing here isn't just a policy disagreement. It's a government trying to sell a complex tax overhaul, while the opposition and even public figures turn it into a national punchline. A Labor senator steps in to explain capital gains and negative gearing using giraffes, zebras, and soft toys like it's a preschool storybook. And instead of clarifying policy, it immediately becomes political fuel for critics who say this is exactly the problem. Serious economic decisions being reduced to cartoons, while everyday Australians are told it's all about fairness. Because the core argument being made is simple on paper, investors, represented by the giraffe, currently benefit more under the tax system than renters like the zebra, so the changes aim to rebalance that. But the moment you translate tax law into nursery metaphors in Parliament, you don't just simplify the message, you invite ridicule. And that's exactly what follows here. The opposition and commentators seize on the moment, framing it as proof that Labor doesn't understand the economic consequences of its own reforms. The criticism is blunt. Higher capital gains taxes will discourage investment, reduce returns, and potentially slow down housing supply, all while being marketed as fairness. Supporters argue the opposite, saying the system has been skewed for decades and needs correction. But in this clip, nuance disappears and what remains is perception. And politically, perception is everything. What makes it more damaging is the wider context being thrown into the same narrative. Weak polling, internal seat losses, and growing dissatisfaction are all stitched together into a single storyline. A government under pressure, struggling to defend its agenda, and increasingly forced into simplified messaging that critics are eager to mock. By the end, the debate isn't just about tax policy anymore. It becomes about competence, communication, and credibility. And when public figures and entertainers start echoing the same criticism, the political argument stops being confined to Parliament and turns into a broader public verdict.